Friday, peeps. Today is April 24th. We are at the end of week 4, so this is our 5th lesson of the week. And this is the last time I'm going to see you, or you're going to see me until Monday. So here we go. Our agenda today, we're going to go over a really basic what, why, and how. We're going to do some iReady, and then I am going to walk you guys through a free write that you're going to do inspired by your visual representation from yesterday. So what are we doing? Today you're doing a free write. Why are you doing that? To get you writing and thinking before your writing task that you're going to have next week. So I talked with you all a little bit yesterday about thinking about historical accounts and thinking about how we're in a really unique period of time, a really unique moment in history, and how we want to document essentially what everybody is going through. And we are using this task as a way for you all to write about something that is meaningful to you and to give you sort of the freedom to exercise your writing however you see fit. So at the end of class today, you're going to submit your free write. We are going to talk about the rubric that is going to be included. And you're going to see basically our big why is that we want to make sure that we are staying polished up on our capitalization, punctuation, spelling, all that kind of stuff, okay? And we're going to talk more about that when we get into the rubric. So you guys know the drill. iReady for 15 minutes. Go ahead and set yourselves a timer. As always, if you are finished with the My Pathway lessons, there are teacher assigned lessons. And if you're finished with those, you got to shoot me an email. So your free write. I'm so excited to walk through this with you all. Mr. McCulley actually designed this free write, and I think it's a pretty awesome one. So here we go. So you're going to look at your visual representation. And I have this sort of weird little bubble thing on my slides because in my actual visual representation from yesterday, which we're going to look back on again, my pictures were all just kind of the same size. I didn't really do anything with the size to indicate importance, but some of you might have. And when looking at this visual representation, right, we can see that there are some things that are weighted a little bit more than others by their size, right? So perhaps this big giant circle is more important or more meaningful than this little circle over here. So essentially today you're going to think about the importance of the pieces in your visual representation. Oops. And so what you're going to do is you're going to set a timer for yourself for 15 minutes. Don't do that. And you, before you time anything, you have the ability, right, because this is yours, you have the ability to go back and look at your visual representation, right? So here I am looking at mine, and I'm thinking about what's really important to me during this period of time in quarantine. And, staff meetings, they're important, but they're not really, my life. FaceTime is, okay, it's there. I love talking to Miss Linda Muth, but I don't really do it all that often. I love my cats. Maybe I'm going to write about my cats, right? They're kind of annoying me right now, so maybe not. And then I'm looking at what I'm missing during quarantine, and I'm thinking about, recess, and I'm thinking about conferencing with students and thinking about how different those things are now that I'm actually in quarantine. And, recess or getting outside looks a lot different for me now than it did when we were still in school, right? I went outside for recess with you guys at the same time every single day. I still try and stick to that, right? During my lunch break, I still go outside and I go for a pretty long walk, right? That's kind of my recess during the day. Hanging out with Miss Linda Muth looks different, right? Conferencing with students, giving student feedback looks different. So maybe that's something I could write about, what it was like and how it's different now. I don't really know. I think something that I want to look at is probably going to be interactions with students. Let's do that. Okay. So if I go back to my slides, you're going to set a timer for yourself for 15 minutes and you're going to free write for 15 minutes. So we have talked before about how when you do a free write, right, the most important thing for you is not to be I don't know how I want to say this. It's not to be right. It's not to be the best writing ever. A free write is just your first draft. Okay, so before, when I talked about your writing rubric that we're going to go over and think about, right, that's not for today. That's for next week, right? So for today, we're in like the preliminary stages. This is like the first draft thinking. It's the first time you're thinking about something critically like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to, not that one yet. We're going to do one of these together. So I want you guys to keep in mind, right, usually when we've done free writes, we've done them in your notebooks. So if you want to handwrite your free write, that's okay, but you must email me photos of your work. So again, if you set a timer for yourself for 15 minutes and you want to write on paper, that is fine, but you must email me photos of your work. Okay? So we're going to start brainstorming together. One of the things that I talked about, right, was my interactions with students and how that has changed. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that more can fit on here. I've talked about how my interactions with students have really changed. Oh, you can't really see that. I apologize. So my interactions with students have changed quite a bit. So my free write, why is that I so little? Why is that I am so little? I give up. Interactions with students, you get the gist. So I might start writing and let's say I want to take this from a creative writing perspective. And I say, one fine day in March, I walked, what's a better word than walked? I strolled into my classroom at 7:01, ready to see what the day would bring. Little did I know it would be the last day I spent with my 8th graders. Boop, boop, boop. And then let's say I make a new paragraph. And I say, why is that doing that? I think I have a cat hair in my eye, you guys. Oh. Little did I know it would be the last day I spent with my 8th graders. The day began as all days begin, with coffee and attendance. Sydney helped me. How about Sydney confirmed who was absent and who was present? As the class listened, I'm going to put in parentheses, kind of, right, first hour, to the announcements. La, 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 la. Okay, then I might say, boop, 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 I talk about school, right? This is all me typing, okay? So it's not space, it's la, 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 la. These are all the things that happened that day, whatever. And then I say, later in March, I found myself in quarantine. Then I start talking about quarantine, right? Blah, 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 blah. Now, my interactions with students are limited. I can no longer see them face to face. And then let's say I'm not sure what else I want to put. So I say I can't see them face to face. No recess. What's another thing we can't do? No guided study. No laughter? Maybe, I don't know, unless you're laughing at my videos. Maybe that's possible. Comma, etc. Let's say I also want to make a list of people I miss and why. Maybe that's something to add later. I can include that in my free write too. Okay? So I kind of have what's happening? I kind of have all these things that I just kind of like put on this slide, right? But they're all just kind of like me thinking and free writing and whatever, right? So on this doc right here, it says, look at your visual representation of your time during the stay. Look at this visual representation of your time during the stay. Oh, yeah. Look at this visual representation of your time during the stay-at-home order. Choose a single image. This can be an intentionally chosen image. Man, guys, I'm really struggling today with my reading. This Friday thing is not working for me. This can be an intentionally chosen image or an image chosen at random, right? So I intentionally chose a photo. Let's say you scroll over and you randomly click, then you open your eyes and you write about that. That's fine too. Set a timer for yourself for 15 minutes. We talked about that. You're going to write about the image that you have chosen for your visual representation. And this is a free write, right? So it should take the entire 15 minutes. And remember, when you free write, spelling, punctuation, capitalization, all that stuff are not your main focus. You're just trying to get as many thoughts on the page as possible. That part I talked about with the rubric that we're going to start to go over and that we're going to start to think about is going to come into place next week when we revisit these free writes and when we start to craft them into more of an account of what is happening to you during this quarantine time. Okay, so super low pressure, right? You should write for 15 minutes. So a lot of you are going to be on to the second page. Maybe some of you are going to be on the third page. It shouldn't just be something like, I am in quarantine, the end. Don't do that, peeps. All right? I miss you. I know this isn't exactly ideal, but please enjoy your time with your free write. If you want to write about how much you miss me, because I miss you, that's totally fine too. I appreciate the shout outs. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, I'm seriously going crazy over here. I might be going crazy. Anyways, all right, peeps, have a great rest of your week. I miss you, I adore you, and I look forward to reading your free writes.